Racism. We don't have much time, I believe. We're good? Okay. Well, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I made a sermon this morning on racism, and it was going good. I was looking at the slides and everything, and I'm like, you know what? Nope, we're not going to go with a sermon. We're just going to have a conversation. Because I wish someone had a conversation with me knowing these kind of stuff. There's nothing I can say. That's why I'm sitting down. This is not me preaching because there's nothing I can say that you guys can't Google, to be honest. You guys could look through textbooks, the Bible. There's plenty of resources to talk about racism. This is not something new, something that's been here for a while. Unfortunately, I'm learning too about it, to be honest. I couldn't even be racist even if I tried. The reason being, I think I have pretty much every race in my genes. My grandfather is French, my dad is Cuban, my mom is Brazilian. I was born in Dallas. I grew up in Mexico, and I look Arabian for some reason. And trust me when I say I do, because I was in Malaysia, and when Muslims come up to you speaking their language, you know that you look like them. And they will get offended when I would say, I'm sorry, I don't speak that language. They're like, quit lying. I know you do. You look Middle Eastern. But it's not, that's the truth. We all have a different race in ourselves. So it's kind of absurd to think that we can be judgmental in that way. Nonetheless, it's removing all doubt, and I think we do have certain doubts. And here I was going to talk about the sermon of, the civil rights movement, more than 50 years ago, and be all informational. But really, what's happening today? Like, For starters, I also was homeschooled, so that didn't help because I really thought I knew it all from the books, from education, from museums and stuff. This is what I grew up in, and it didn't hit me that it's actually something continues to happen until I went to Germany at age 14. And when I went to Germany, I encountered a lot of stuff. I loved the culture. I loved everything. I was innocent, and I had no idea what was out there in the world. And I remember I wanted to know German so bad, I would practice this every day. Oh, guten Morgen. Oh, guten Tag. Oh, hallo. Wie geht's mit dir? And you practice this German, and I would go out in the town, and I would say stuff to people passing by. And they would just kind of like, I'm right here, and I asked the question, what time it is. And they were like, look, like, honey, did you hear something? I think someone said something. And they would just continue walking. And that happened a whole entire day. And I actually went to the bathroom, I remember, to the mall. And I went and checked myself in the mirror. I'm like, I think I died. And like, I'm invisible. Like, I thought I was invisible to these Germans. And that's when I realized, wow, they just see me as something so different that they will not acknowledge me. Now, not all was bad when I went to Germany. I could say a lot of stories, but it's not focusing on the bad. I also went to a concentration camp. Well, to a museum. They didn't put me in a concentration camp. It was a museum of a concentration camp in Germany. And all these Germans came up to me, a lot of them crying, in tears, hugging me. And they're like, we're so sorry what we did to your people. I'm like, I'm not Jewish, man. How many people could get confused in my race? But it warmed my heart to think, wow, not everything is bad in this world. But why are we racist, though? Raises the question. Why? Removing all doubt. Isn't it kind of, the doubt is not in racism. The doubt is, why are we racist? That's a question. Is it tradition? Do we learn it from our family? Do we learn it as what? In TV and things that we see? Because it doesn't happen. We're not born with racism, to be honest. My little sister, well, she's an older sister, but when she was little, till this day, I don't know the song of Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world, pink and blue and purple, yellow. And she would invent her colors because she had no idea about the races. So she would just invent all these different colors. And till this day, I still mention all like rainbow speck colors. Because we're not born with it. We keep growing up, and you would think that you grow older, more mature, more experienced, you grow to be wiser, and instead we grow, what? Ignorant? Thinking that a skin color defines a person? The truth. I thought I was going to grow up to this world of acceptance and people that grow older to be kinder. Well, reality hits, but it's not something new. I mean, I could spit facts all morning on the Bible, explaining about the Philistines and the Israelites and all this going back and forth. And then you see the people from Israel, being enslaved by Egyptians and, let my people go and all this stuff. And then it happens again and again, and history repeats itself. And you're like, when's it going to end? When are we going to realize that God gave his only forgotten son, right, to die for, the Asians. The Canadian people. Is that how that goes? Is that how ignorant we've gone that we think that our grace has been expanded to just a certain group of people and that's it? We very much know that he covered the whole entire world. So where is the doubt? Removing all doubt, where's the doubt? We have had the answer for hundreds of thousands of years, and yet we constantly live in this ignorance. So I don't believe anyone here to be ignorant. I would want to believe we're accepting, but the truth is different. I was in college, and we had this debate class, and there was a classmate. She was African American, and she was brilliant. She actually did debate like if she was running for president against someone else, and I'm sorry to say, she slaughtered the other person. And at the end of the class, we had to take a vote, and we all voted for her. And, we entered a debate, her and I, and she was saying, we entered this very controversial debate on how African Americans get to use the N-word. Now, she's saying, oh, well, we get to use it, no one else can, because we went through suffering. And I'm like, okay. And I was talking to her, I'm like, I mean no disrespect, but why? May I ask why? I have two brothers, and one's from Barbados, one's from New York, and they're brothers to me. You know, they're African American, and they use the N-word with me. They say it to me, and then I say it back to them, and they're like, whoa. And I'm like, okay, wait. Where is this matter? So here's where it went with her. She said that they discriminated a certain group, and now no person can tell them that they do not have the right to say something. So this is what she says. Do you see the problem here? She's saying no group gets to tell me what I get to say. Yet, her own theory is no one else in the world gets to use this, only this certain group. So where's the balance? You guys get it? Where's the fairness? And here's where racism hits. Racism believes in equality. All lives matter and equality. They want equality, but we don't find equality. Why? Because equality stands from a certain point of view where, okay, I'm going to say something, it's going to sound powerful, but this is where it happens. And it's not only about race. It's not about culture. It's about everything. We see it in religion. We see it in feminine rights. We see it in everything. And this is what the mindset is in this theory. We want equality. We strive for equality. We talk about equality. But what our actions actually say is we want the oppressed to oppress the oppressors. Does that make sense? When we talk about women are equal. But what they really want is they want to step on their men that have been players, who have been sexualizing them for so long. Now they want to be above them. The same thing with different races. And what happens is we all end up hating each other. The Asians and the blacks and the whites and the Latinos, and everyone ends up hating each other because the equality is wanting to prove that one is better than the other. And because of this, we end up missing out on so much. We end up missing out on potential friends, imagine that. It's amazing. I remember I was in high school, and this kid, he was African American. He kept saying this word, and I said it to him, and all of a sudden, a big fight. And trust me, in high school, I was this high, and this guy was 6'2", and he was in high school. Big linebacker type guy, and I was about to get killed. And then, someone interrupted and said, hey, you guys are discussing on this? You guys could be friends. And we did. We became good friends. But how controversial is it that we want to overpower someone else? And where does that come from? Where does it strive? I could read the Bible again and say, oh, God wants, he doesn't pick favoritism. Love thy enemy. Do good to those that hurt you and all these stuff. But we don't listen. I get frustrated. There's so much I want to say. But there's two groups. Sadly, this has happened. And they both strive from various sources, but one in particular. We have the bullies, the ones who pound down on this race of equality and they want to overpower. And then you have the oversensitive group. The group that says, how dare my parents not ask for my consent when I was born? And you have all these different people who are so sensitive in these topics, and then they don't get along. Where does it come from? One, insecurity, sadly. Two, mechanism of defense. People get hurt by a certain group of people, and all of a sudden they're X out. You know what? I'm just going to X out the whole entire China. I'm going to X out the whole entire United States. And what we don't realize that we are ambassadors of what we are in our culture. Sadly, I'm throwing it how it is. I'm going to throw it how it is, and then we're going to see the solution to it. But truthfully so, when I went to Paris, I had a really bad encounter with a couple of French people. And when we came back, I was like, French people. And it's funny, did I see all of France? No, I did not. That is completely unfair of me to judge entire country, but sadly, we are ambassadors of our race. Now, this is a truth, okay? I'm not saying this is how it's supposed to be, the right way to be, but sadly, yes, I have a friend right now, she's in Europe, and she'll tell me the different places she's going and how she views the people. It's funny because my mom is Brazilian, and some people go and they're like, oh, I love Brazilian people because they met her. Or they meet someone else. Or they meet, oh, I like Cubans. Oh, I like this. And wow, you met one single person. So undoubtedly, you are an ambassador. And you yourself it's up to you, your responsibility of how a person may view the country. Sadly, that is how it is. But that's not the only thing, okay? So we got being ambassador of our country. We shouldn't. We should view a lot beyond that and understand that people, because of how they're raised, because of their mechanism of offense and how they've been hurt, it distorts our point of view, our vision. So it's all cookie cutter, right? I could be saying all these nice phrases of, oh, we walk by faith, not by sight. We're all the same color when we turn off the light. All these great things, right? But when it comes down to it, it's pain. We're all in pain. We all been hurt, and we all, okay, I pressed a button. So it's sad. Man, you know what? I'm going to do something that I wasn't sure. I want to explain this. I want to drive it through people's head, how people are just missing out on the boat, how people can be friends, how people could just see beyond, how people can, but I'm going to elaborate this way. Okay, I need a volunteer, preferably not wearing a dress. All right, volunteer. How do we do this? All right. Don't worry, nothing bad's happening. This looks a little scary. All right. Can we do this? We are going to do this. Okay. And the plan, I'm closing your eyes. Okay. You know what? Yeah, we're doing this. Sorry about the weather. You're fine. No. You gotta trust me, okay? This is I can't believe this is happening. This is happening. Okay, you're going to grab my hand. You're going to walk a little. Okay, a chair is in front of you. Okay? I can't believe we're doing this, but we're doing it. Walk, trust me. Now, there's a chair in front of you. I want you to stand on top of the chair. Go, make a step. There you go, perfect. A little bit more to your right. Now, you're going to use me as a guide and stand up on the chair. Wow, okay, trusting guy. All right, now what's going to happen is you're going to fall back. The ultimate trust fall is actually happening. Now, you may have asked someone to come behind you. It might be a tiny girl. It might be someone big. It might be 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. But the thing is, when I say ready down, you're going to extend your arms to the sides. Like that. Yeah, that's fine. Like that. And you're just going to fall backward, okay? And ready down. All right. Get down. Easy breezy. That was a lot of trust. Thank you so much. A lot of trust. Now, did that person who put that trust in this fall, seems dumb, trust me. The people that actually caught you, they're in gymnastics, so they know what they're doing, so it's good. But this simple distance of someone falling back, it took a lot of guts. I know what it feels like. My dad actually made me do this when I was little. And it's very scary. You can't see anything. You don't know the distance. You know who's back there. Does it matter the race? Did you care if it was someone from Canada, South America? Did you care? You just wanted to be caught, right? That's what matters, right? So we view these races, and all we want is some acceptance. All we want is love. All we want is that individual connection. And yet, how is it possible that we're seeking this connection and we put up walls? We put up walls, I don't like this culture and this culture and this culture, and we get it from TV and all this stuff, and then we fall, and what happens? You land straight flat on your back. Why? Because you block so many people out from your life, and so much people fall straight on their back because there's no one to catch you. You miss out on the opportunity of making friendships, making connections, extending your hand and making a difference. I'm going to end with a story. This story was from a kingdom, And it was a king, and he was ruling, and he was under attack. He was under siege. And they were conquering the city. And this dad came up, and he's like, son, I'm going to bring this servant. He's here, and you're going to have to leave through this tunnel and leave the city and never come back. I don't think I'm going to make it. They're gonna take over. They're going to conquer this city. So, he takes him to a tunnel, opens the door, and he's like, son, whatever happens, just remember one thing. Can't tell anyone. Just remember, you're the son of a king, okay? So, sure enough, he leaves to a tunnel. They take over the entire city. They kill the father, kill the king, kill everyone. And he goes to a very far away village, and he's there. He's living. He doesn't have his riches and his fame. He just has regular clothes. But he goes to school every day, and the teacher starts noticing something different about this kid. And she's viewing him. He's so polite, so kind, and everything doesn't line up. He's like, who is this kid? Who's this kid? It doesn't matter the culture. It doesn't matter anything. She just views something different. So finally, she had enough. She goes up to him. He's like, who are you? And he's like, I'm just a student. No. Who are you? And he, kind of smiles, looks around. He's like, well, I'm son of the king. And all of a sudden, everything makes sense. See, what we don't realize is that we're all related. We are all children of God. That makes us family. And when you behave accordingly, when you know that you are royalty, you think that someone's going to look at you for your race? You think that someone's going to judge you and put a block? When you enter a room and you're so graceful and giving and kind and loving and all these qualities, everything disappears and people start looking at you for what you really are. We ourselves put the block. We ourselves initiate that racism. Racism could stop here. It could stop today. It could stop with you. Removing all doubt is not about explaining what racism is. It's explaining how ignorant it has become and how we can overcome it. That's what removing all doubt is. It's not explaining its history or its biblical reference of how God just gave his only commandment is loving each other as he loved us. And when we discriminate someone else, we're actually discriminating him because everyone is his children. That's what it boils down to. You call yourself a Christian? It's happening here. It's happening in your schools. It happens so frequently. And you have the audacity to come here to church and say, I'm a Christian. Well, not him, he's a lesser, What? Interesting. Guys, love each other. It would be a pity and a shame that it will come down to a certain scenario that opens your eyes in the brink of you're dying and a big accident and one that you have been prejudiced against, a classmate, saves your life. Are you going to have to swallow your own words and realize God can use anyone, including yourself, to be a blessing or a curse? So watch it. Ending with this. Stop being alone. Stop falling on your back. Realize that there's people around you that can catch you. Realize that you can catch someone else when they fall. And the only thing dividing you between you and them is an ignorant mindset. It's a wall that you yourself put or someone else puts, and it's going to be easily broken by just being kind. Pastor Carlos explained throughout women's ordination, he spoke on judgment, and all he said was kindness. I remember he asked this last Sabbath. He's like, what can save us? And I from the back, I'm like, love. And he's like, kindness. And well, basically, kindness is love with its working boots on. It's love. It's a form of love, but it's kindness. It's reaching out and showing it by action. Let's remove all doubt. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you because you have given us all the instruments to remove all doubt. You have given us the power. Now grant us the will to carry it out. Grant us the will to extend a hand to our fellow family members, Lord, to embrace them and realize we're all in this together and there's no reason to extend hate. Just love, Lord. May your will be done. In Jesus we pray. Amen.